Hey, it's Rick Jesse Homestead. How the heck are you? I know. I keep trying to break away from this stuff, but this one is really important. So I thought I'd get this done up for you and get it up to you. I want to talk to you about this mail-in vote. This country, with what's been breaking loose here of late, is truly teetering, if not already stepped into civil war zone. A bad election is all it's going to take to set this off. I'm serious. This mail-in voting thing has to be brought to a close. Okay, that's number one. You got the media out there even having congressional hearings. Now this is so stupid. About is Donald Trump tearing down the post office. Listen, it started under Barack Obama defunding the post office. Kind of funny that the Democrats are saying, oh, we need at least $20 billion. And exactly how much your president, Barack Obama, took out of the postal system back in 2009 and continued to take more right up and through 2016, and they are just carrying on the policies put in place. Megan Brennan has been the Postmaster General and Obama appointee as of February 1, 2015, right up to June 16th of 2020. She was replaced with Louis DeJoy. One of the things the Trump administration is trying to do is get this thing into the black. But to shut the Democrats up and to shut the mainstream media up, he stopped everything. You hear him talking about him taking out sorting machines. But I was watching some videos of where, of course, the United States Postal Service unions, a lot of them, 3 of them as a matter of fact, big Democrat supporters, 500,000 votes out, huh? They are right now, I was listening to them talk about how the post office has been shrunk and things of this nature. But a couple of interesting facts came out of their news conferences. One, that the United States Postal Service is capable of handling up to 5 million pieces of mail a day. Of course, that's with 500,000 employees. It's not many pieces of mail for an employee if you do the math. But one of the biggest things was they were talking about the, getting rid of equipment and things of this nature. But out of one of them's mouth, and if you listen to the videos out there on them, one of the labor unions said, well, we had a bunch of sorting machines that were broke down, sitting in postal centers with just tarps thrown over them and power disconnected from them because they weren't really fixable. Louis DeJoy, I believe is it, DeJoy, something like that. He told them when he did tours of the place, says, go ahead and get the tarps off the things, unbolt them and get them out of here. You better utilize the space. That's just a good business move, people. Why would you have broken down equipment sitting, taking up space in the post offices, and it's going to have to be replaced, okay, or not? Key point in this is these things are, post office is dead, okay, it's terrible. So most of this has all happened under the watchful eye of a Postmaster General put in place by Barack Obama and during the Barack Obama administration. But now all of a sudden they're trying to push this off on Trump, trying to get this $20 billion, of our tax dollars to pour into a defunct system. Little like if I came along and said, hey guys, I need $10 billion, and instead of worrying about the post office, we'll start up the Pony Express again. You'd all look at me like that's crazy. Little like somebody coming to you telling you $20 billion and we'll get the post office to work and handle this one-time voter mail-in. Now, if our figures are right, we're going to have a flood of outgoing ballots, probably more than the U.S. population. It's hard to say, because they're already sending out in states where they've done this a heck of a lot more ballots than they had voters for. But even if you look at 2016 election results and say you got that many coming back in, you've got another 125 million votes that are going to come back into the Postal Service, into a system that's already stressed and has been stressed for quite some time. I've got some videos to show you, and then we'll finish this up on the tail end. But these are from news sources, folks, from local news channels. One of the few places you're going to get honesty out of the media. And it's a nightmare story. At the end, I'll tell you about my personal nightmare story, and we'll wrap this thing up. But I need your help. This needs to get shared. We want to try to get this in front of people as much as possible. Mail-in voting can't happen. It is going to be a mess. An absolute mess. And in a quick search of YouTube alone. If you'd really like to do some in-depth video watching, I found over 45 hours worth of identical videos dating back 2009, 2008, all the way through. Over 49 hours worth. I'm not spending 49 hours for somebody to keep telling me repeatedly that the United States Postal Service can't do its job. It's antiquated. But we'll talk about that at the end. See what you think.
An area called the sheriff after he witnessed it.
I heard it hit in the bottom of the dumpster. I immediately went over and looked in and retrieved it.
Federal employee taking this and throwing it in a dumpster. Not a good day. Not a good day for America. And we really don't know. Has this mail carrier done it before?
The sheriff says he has filed a report within his office. Next, he's going to have a talk with the U.S. Postal Inspector about conducting an investigation. Sheriff,
look at these images showing a mailman throwing mail into a popular dump site. 41 Action News reporter Charlie Keegan went to that site at 45th and Garfield and met with the man in charge of investigating dumping crimes.
Well, let me give you a look here around 45th and Garfield. The city calls this one of its top 3 illegal dump sites, and you can see all sorts of trash here. But what we noticed this morning, as you look down the embankment, down the hill here, actually a couple of representatives from the USPS are here, and they're cleaning up some of the mail that the city found here. Now, I want to talk to Alan Ashers, who is the city's illegal dumping investigator and specialist. And I guess tell us a little bit about how you discovered what appears to be mail being dumped here by a Postal Service employee.
Sure. I was looking through our surveillance camera footage and noticed a mail vehicle sitting here, which is not unusual. A lot of people take their breaks here. But once he left, I found some mail that wasn't here when he pulled up. Just little white letters like you would see in your mailbox. Looked a little suspicious, so I came out here and I started taking a look around, and I found some letters and stuff like that. But then I started noticing a trail of flyers and other things lead me to the side of this hill here where there's just bundles and bundles of mail that were dumped down the side of this hill here.
And now what's it like to see this morning, the USPS here actually cleaning some of it up?
Here at home, a scandal at a post office on Long Island. A postal worker in Nassau County under investigation tonight after 60 huge bags of undelivered mail were removed from his home. How long has this been going on? And more importantly, why? Lots of people want answers this evening. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Charlesworth is live at the scene in the hamlet of Belmore. Michelle?
Well, a United States Postal Service official has confirmed to me that people in this area of Belmore had been complaining that their mail was being mishandled. He also says this is an active investigation, no arrests, no charges.
What he did is terrible.
But when you mail something, you think...
I think it's going where it's supposed to go, and I always mail things.
Neighbors in Belmore are horrified by the volume of bags they saw taken away, reportedly filled with mail that allegedly never was delivered.
Supposed to mail it in the post office. Supposed to mail it to the customers. That's where it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go in the shed.
Neighbors also say from this second floor window, members of the fire department next door could see the man moving mysterious bags to a back shed. The Inspector General of the U.S. Postal Services confirms this is an active investigation, and people know this to be a sacred promise that in good faith mail always gets delivered. The iconic unofficial motto comes to mind that neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these couriers from their rounds.
It's hoarding mail. That's terrible, though. People's, like you said,
pension checks, Social Security, love letters, could be family documents, wills, everything that we put in the mail.
Birthday cards.
People are anxious for this to be investigated. Investigators confirm that there have been complaints that mail in this area has been mishandled. So mail was not getting where it needed.
All right, Hank, but we're going to begin with this. Crates full of undelivered mail found dumped in a vacant lot in Detroit. Glad you're with us at 5. When someone saw that mess of mail just tossed on the side of the road this morning, they alerted us.
Let's bring in Jason Colthorpe, who alerted the Postal Service, which responded right away, Jason.
Almost immediately, within minutes, guys. Inspectors were showing up, collecting all of this. The Postal Service knows not just how bad this looks, but how much important information is in all that mail.
Barham Street on Detroit's east side is often a prime target for illegal dumpers. This morning, though, someone spotted something much more worrisome than a few mattresses. 5 bins of U.S. mail.
And this isn't all junk mail either. A closer look at all of this mail shows tax information mixed in, even unemployment insurance, certified mail, even a court appearance. And from what we can tell with all of this, it seems that most or all of this was supposed to go to people in Southfield.
We tracked it to Marshall Street in Southfield that showed up on a lot of that mail and ran into the mail carrier who's been on this route since last August. He says he had nothing to do with it.
Somebody getting rid of the mail.
Somebody getting rid of it. That's not unusual, or?
That is unusual.
It is unusual.
Neighbors obviously concerned as well.
U.S. Department of Education, we were supposed to re-sign a contract and they had to send it to me like 3 times. So I'm thinking that maybe that's the answer to it.
That's a lot of personal information out there.
Heck yeah. I mean, that on my document alone, it had my social security number.
Simply discarding that mail and not protecting it, if they're a postal employee, is a federal felony.
The investigation already underway, and Assistant Special Agent for the USPS, Breck Nolan, tells me there is some good news here.
The agents haven't seen anything yet that looks like it had been ripped open or any theft of that mail.
Now, this isn't the first time we've reported on problems with the Southfield Post Office. In February 2015, you might remember several neighbors complained about not getting any mail. In April 2016, similar complaints, plus this picture given to us by a woman who saw a carrier loading something from their mail truck into their personal vehicle. It's tough to see it with the fence in the way, but since then, I'm told no official complaints about that post office, guys.
It's kind of hard to think of where a likely culprit for this would be other than a mail carrier, right?
That's what investigators think. They think it's most likely a mail carrier, given the postmarks also go back to last January and December. And around the holidays, that's when they see they'll become overwhelmed with a lot of mail and just dump it. But they said there's also other possibilities, someone that's gotten access to a mail room, even an airline employee possibly.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. It was intended for. NBC2 has tracked 2 cases in Southwest Florida alone. Loads of U.S. mail or packages from Amazon discovered trashed or stolen.
Tonight, we sent NBC2 investigator David Hodges to uncover what your rights are if you become a victim.
Peter and Kelly, just take a look at this haul found in Lehigh Acres over the weekend. More than $100,000 in stolen goods from the merchandise retailer Amazon.com found stuffed in a garage. While this case is jaw-dropping, I uncovered mail theft happens a lot more than you probably think. Every day, the United States Postal Service processes more than 500 million pieces of mail. But on occasion, it ends up in a dumpster, like last week in San Carlos Park. And packages can be stolen, like the Amazon cargo found in someone's Lehigh Acre garage.
I had checks stolen one time. Some money, some cash stolen out of a Easter card that I sent to my grandkids, $50.
Suzanne Vandry's been the victim of thieves before. She thought about taking action.
I talked to my carrier in the neighborhood about it, and he said there is so much of that stuff going on, even at the post office behind doors. He said, you know, there's not much they can do about it.
The United States Postal Service received 97,000 complaints in 2015 for mail theft. And it's not as rare as you might think that the people dropping off your mail are the ones stealing. According to the Postal Inspector General, 493 Postal Service employees were arrested between October 2014 and September 2015 for stealing mail. So what do you do if your mail or package doesn't show up?
I would just go online and search Google how to report stolen merchandise.
The NBC2 investigators discovered a simple search reveals USPS has a mail theft form you can submit online. Amazon says to log into your profile and contact them if the package is more than 36 hours late. What happens from there depends on the circumstances of each individual case. According to USPS, it's because of these complaints they end up catching criminals. You can go to our website, NBC-2.com, and click on news links to find the complaint filing forms to try and get your missing or stolen mail. In the studio, David Hodges.
Well, this woman was and may have helped solve a very big problem. Once again, thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Keith McCord.
And I'm Ashley Kewish. Residents in the Pleasant Grove area have been complaining about missing mail, well, for a few months now. But as news specialist Alex Alex Cabrero found out there may now be an answer as to why. Alex.
That's right. Ashley, Keith, we all know the deal, right? You put the proper postage on a package or an envelope like this, you put it in the mail, and the government promises to deliver it for you. Now, every once in a while, the mail will get lost, but when that happens, it's certainly not intentional, which makes this particular story so upsetting.
You usually don't think twice. Mail goes into the box and eventually ends up at the address you put on the front. But there's a good chance no one has ever addressed their mail to a dumpster.
Totally shocked. When I first looked in, I first saw a package on the top.
This woman doesn't want us to show you her face or tell you who she is because, well, she doesn't want the guy she saw to know she saw.
I looked outside and noticed the mail truck parked by the dumpster and thought it was really odd because our mail had already been delivered for the day by a completely different mail carrier and mail vehicle.
That's right, a mailman throwing stuff into this Pleasant Grove dumpster. When he left, she went to see what it was, expecting maybe plastic bags, cardboard, maybe even leftover lunch. It was worse than even junk mail.
No, not junk mail. Things from the state of Utah, personal cards, checks, utility bills, and it was addressed to people in Pleasant Grove and Linden area.
These are pictures she took of the hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of mail she took out of the dumpster. She put them in bags, then delivered them back to the Pleasant Grove post office.
One of the guys that talked to me said he's worked there for 36 years and has never seen anything like this before.
Thing is, her grandfather was a mailman and knows how hard he worked to properly deliver the mail and how easy it is for one bad apple to damage public trust.
Seeing something like this happen, it's pretty upsetting.
Now, I heard back from the U.S. Postal Service Office of Inspector General that mailman is no longer employed by the Postal Service, and the U.S. Attorney's Office is now reviewing this case to see what, if any, charges will be filed against him. Again, now the Postal Service wants to say that it's just the actions of one man, and it's not indicative of the entire Postal Service as a whole, Keith and Ashley. And also, they wanted to let everybody know that the mail that was recovered was eventually delivered to the people it was intended to. Back to you.
All due to that woman doing a good thing.
Yep, absolutely. She was alert. That's right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
The mail worker has admitted now to throwing away undelivered mail found in a dumpster behind a school in North College Hill. WLWT News 5's Tammy Mutasa has the latest on the investigation. Tammy.
Mike, I spoke with agents from the Postal Service Office of Inspector General. They tell me the mail worker took full responsibility for dumping the mail, but neighbors say it doesn't lessen the shock when they found out what happened.
It's crazy. That's not right.
A North College Hill elementary custodian was stunned by what she found while throwing away trash behind the school. Lots of mail, bundled and sorted by street addresses.
It's horrible because, you know, the mail, we still live by the mail.
Agents with the Postal Service Office of the Inspector General recovered junk mail and first-class mail from the dumpster.
Oh, there's a lot of important mail that goes out. I mean, I still do it the old way. I still mail my bills. So I expect to get my mail.
Agents traced the mail worker. They say during questioning, the worker admitted tossing the mail, then quit the job. The worker had been with the Groesbeck branch post office since 2014. Agents say about 500,000 postal employees work around the country, and this type of behavior is not common.
I've been here 30 years, and I don't recall it happening. If it has, it's been a long time ago.
The recovered mail has been sent back out for delivery today.
Lazy. He just didn't want to get out and do it. Plus, it's hot, you know, humid. But it was his job he was getting paid to do.
Tampering with mail is a federal offense. Agents tell me the U.S. Attorney's Office won't be prosecuting, but they declined to explain why. Tammy Mutasa, WLWT News 5.
Tammy, thanks a lot. Agents say if anybody has knowledge of postal employee misconduct, they should contact the Inspector General.
A little bit of an eye-opener, isn't it? Yeah. One of the big problems I found in researching this video is that they talk about getting rid of mail like that is a felony. Most of the cases that have been handled by the Postal Service, because they're union employees, it virtually takes having charges filed against them to get them out, to fire them. What you end up having here is they file these charges, and usually the end result of it is sometimes if there's money or loss involved, they will hit the individual with restitution. I've seen some up as high as close to $10,000 worth of restitution and a year's worth of probation. So these postal people know there's no real consequence. The worst that could happen is to get fired, really. And if you think these people are going to be out here dealing with these massive piles of mail that are going to be flooding that system and do it efficiently and do it to where nobody's votes get lost, things of this nature, you, my friend, are delusional or a Democrat. It's not gonna work. We are sitting on top of powder keg here. I've got one more video coming up this week, and so help me, gosh, that's the last I'm gonna have to say on this stuff. We are sitting on a powder keg. I'm talking with groups out here who, let me tell you something, you know, they're polishing off their weaponry. They're getting ready. You have, and for the minority communities, you better wake up and you better start talking to some of these fools you got out there running around. Like in Baltimore, where white man walking down the street, that's all he was guilty of, and you had a group of blacks, one of them grabbed a brick, ran up behind him, and hit him in the back of the head with a brick with everything he had, painting little things, kill whitey. I have found in my life's experience that there's just as many great blacks running around here as there are whites. And there's as many jerks of both races. In the black communities as well as the white community, need to tone that kind of nonsense down, that racial nonsense. Like I said in some earlier videos, you want to get the police not to kill as many blacks and whites, but kill more whites than blacks. Quit resisting arrest. Quit acting a fool. That's how you get yourselves killed. It's just that simple. This needs to be shared, and the word needs to be getting out. The Democratic Party and the mainstream media are lying out their tushes to the American public, and a lot of people are buying it hook, line, and sinker. Okay, you can go to the polls safely, and if you can't get to the polls, you can vote through your standard absentee ballots if you have a health situation to where COVID would be a great risk to you. To most Americans, it's not. Let's stop the nonsense. We need to put the brakes on this, because I'm telling you now, from what I'm seeing, a messed up election this year can turn this country upside down for years to come. Let's have a clean election. Win, lose, or draw, let's have a clean election. It's going to require most of us to go to the polls. All right? If you're not willing to go to the polls, and you're not willing to get a regular absentee ballot, then you really didn't want to vote that bad after all. Voting is not to be necessarily convenient. You have to have, you know, a little effort put into it. And if you're not willing to put in the effort, that's what's the problem with this country right now. Most people aren't willing to put in the. Then if you aren't willing to put in the effort to go vote, why don't you pack your bags and just get the heck out? Because you're not American. You're just lazy. This is Rick, Tennessee Homestead. I do love you guys and appreciate you, and I'm telling you, we all need to start pushing back, sending letters into Congress, and that's if you're a Democrat. You're thinking about voting for Joe Biden. You don't want to see this country go up in flames? You might want to pen a letter to him and tell him, listen, drop this mail-in voting stuff. COVID-19 numbers, not that dramatic. And I was not going to do a video on it, but I might. Now that all the facts and figures are coming in, you do realize that most of the deaths that they've labeled COVID-19 were not actually COVID-19, and most of them came out of nursing homes. A lot of them out of New York. Matter of fact, when you take those numbers out of the death rate of this pandemic, it's nothing more than the usual flu. You're being lied to. Wake up, America. God bless you. You have a great week. We'll talk to you real soon.